Everybody, and welcome to Raising Vibrations. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the sun sign forecasts for the month of February. And in last month's description, I shared a little bit about the way in which the sun sign and the ascendant work together and why these solar cycles are important to watch and listen to. And in today's discussion, little opener, I'm going to be talking about something that's really fascinating, to be honest. It's always been a way in which we've understood astrology. And today we're going to be talking about something called a neutrino. Okay, the neutrino stream, the neutrino field, the neutrino ocean, however you wish to find it. It is the Aquarian age, in my opinion, word or terminology for the word for prana or energy or chi that we have labeled as a way to understand information and the way in which we experience this universe. So what is energy? What is the way in which we are having consciousness and the way in which we understand the spectrum of light? So neutrino and the neutrino stream is a neutrino itself is a very small particle, okay? It's actually smaller than an atom, and its mass basically penetrates through atoms. And basically what happens with a neutrino is that it contains information, okay, of everything that it passes through. So it permeates the totality of our entire reality in which we experience. And that is how we actually get to understand the astrology impacting us, how we get the planetary archetypes and how the information passes through us. Okay, it's no coincidence that in the ancient times, we would have a lot of teachings, esoteric teachings, in which the sun would be a way in which we would absorb photon energy, and we would basically have our cellular memory activated through that experience. That's why, if you notice on the internet, there's a lot of things about sun gazing or, spending a great deal of time activating yourself through the sun. The same, obviously, with plants and stuff. It's not a coincidence. And so the information that moves through our reality is this thing called the neutrino ocean, the neutrino stream. And like I said, it was prana, chi, energy, however you wish to describe it. And there's, like I said, these little small particles that are incredibly tiny. They're incredibly tiny, okay? And then in the description below, I've got some links for everybody to go and read and check this out and to educate yourself on. Because it's a really fascinating thing to do. Science is really trying to understand this in a very deep way. And so what the neutrino does is it basically moves through the sun, and the sun permeates these neutrinos. And as it basically comes through Earth and it moves through our body, we have all the information imprinting our consciousness, imprinting our body. And this process is the way in which these planetary energies influence us, like I said. All right. And it's according to a system of knowledge, 70% of the neutrino is actually coming from the sun, and the rest of it comes from the universe in itself. And the collapsed stars permeate information, and as it moves through us, through everybody, okay, it moves through us and it basically sticks on us for information, and it moves through and carries information. And that's how we basically are evolving our consciousness. Which is why I've come to understand that these sun sign forecasts are really powerful pieces of information to understand, because the fact that we can have the sun sign, so my sun sign Scorpio, your sun sign whatever, the sun, as it basically manifests itself and it permeates the earth, and the neutrino information goes through the sun and through your chart, it activates your consciousness, it activates your template. And this template basically reflects to you the nature of how your consciousness is evolving in this lifetime. So watching your astrology has become something so fascinating to me even more, because as it opens up this dimension of reality, we get to see how much the universe is consistently supporting us with what we have come here to evolve. And that's why, for me, understanding these sun sign forecasts and understanding them through an evolutionary cycle has brought an immense amount of like, wow, I really actually like this. I really actually enjoy understanding how these things are influencing us in a massive way, more so than I had in the past. So neutrinos, neutrino stream, this is how this information gets imprinted through us. And I wanted to share a picture with everybody over here. Let me just go over to the screen and you can still hear me. And on the right-hand side, you see a guy standing over there and the sun permeating the neutrinos, the information being reflected from the sun. The sun contains light. The light is obviously what we are in consciousness, and that moves through us. And there are approximately 65 billion neutrinos moving through your body every minute. So the capacity for us to actually experience these neutrinos moving through us is so incredibly large. And you can see on the left-hand side over here, the sun, neutrinos from the sun, right? It basically comes from the center of the sun and it moves through all the planetary systems and permeates through Earth. And that's how we obviously are impacted by this. And it's really, really fascinating. And like I said in the description below, there's a couple of links that you can click on to go and read more about this and see some of the experiments that science is doing at the moment to capture this. And according to the way in which they've been able to capture this, only 6% of the 65 million neutrinos has science been able to actually put it down and say, hey, we can spot these things called the ghost particle. So this is a really, really fascinating thing for us to be able to actually track the way in which our consciousness is being imprinted from the neutrino stream. And we're having this happen to us all the time. That's how the nature of the universe moves through us. And we're constantly watching this process just unfold in our way. So really fascinating stuff. All right, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this little introduction. And coming up right now is your sun sign forecasts. Hello, my Cancer friends, and welcome to your forecast for 2017 February. I hope you're well. And today we're going to be looking at how these planetary energies are being streamed through your consciousness and how you're getting the opportunity to awaken your sense of awareness around what your life direction is about. I hope you enjoyed the introduction video around the neutrino stream, and it gives you an opportunity to really help others get in touch with why astrology can be such an impactful energy in our lives and why we can use it to get in touch with our growth process. Okay, so let's have a look at what's going on for you. Now, if we quickly pay attention to the energy at the moment, you can see here that firstly, Pluto is the unconscious patterning in your life in which changes the whole shape and way in which you experience your reality. And with Pluto moving through the 7th house of your astrological chart, what you're having a great opportunity to watch in your life and to see transform for you is the way that you are empowered in relationships. Okay. So a big theme for you has been dealing a lot with how your relationships are changing, how you're finding more fairness and equality and balance. What is the right relationship? What is not the right relationship? And of course, this is now going to become even more amplified for you as we look at the sun. So the sun is now transiting your solar 8th house of your astrological chart. And this is a big deal because as the sun transits the 8th house of your solar chart, it brings into illumination the way in which you find bonding with others. Okay. This is the opportunity to now begin to see where trust and intimacy and a sense of openness and vulnerability are being expressed. So as the sun transits here, you get this opportunity to watch this. And sometimes it can come through with a friend being having a baby and you get to see life come onto the planet as regeneration. Sometimes it can be where possibly a friend's cat dies, as an example, and you experience the emotional loss. However it is, there are these themes of rebirth and death and intimacy and vulnerability, and maybe your friends are even, one of your friends, they are having an argument with their boyfriend, for instance, and they experience that loss and they tell you about it and you get to have that awareness there. So this is much about the inner bonding process. Now, Saturn has still been transiting your 6th house or solar 6th house. And so what this means for you, Cancer, is that you're still growing up in terms of the workforce. Okay, you're still doing stuff that is bringing your attention to how can you be of service. You're learning how to understand other people's needs as well as your own, and you're learning how those needs help the greater good. You're also deeply connected to your relationship with what type of environment you like to exist within, and how that environment brings you natural flow. So it's a very big deal for you as you're growing up here, and you're probably finding yourself having a lot of people give you instructions and outer authorities giving you, and people that are more mature than you in this area, helping you grow in this sense. So watch out for people that are authoritative in your life and have growth, emotional growth, and how they're helping you get in touch with that process. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the transits that are taking place. Of course, if we go over to the 3rd of February, we can see that Venus now joins Mars in the chart, and this is now your solar 10th house. So of course, you're dealing a lot with your relationship to what is your life direction. So a lot of the questions are going to be asked for you in this opportunity here. So where do you want to go with your life? What type of direction do you feel is important for you? And this is going to be a new theme, and this will be taking place for at least a month. And so you're going to be sensitive to a lot of people that have got a sense of life direction. You might have some people come into your life where you really are aware of what type of people are giving you advice on career and a sense of meaning. And this is a great opportunity to just watch and listen and pay attention to this, because once these transits end, the epiphanies and insights and choices that are associated with that will begin to then become anchored into your life. Okay, so this is a great opportunity to watch. And it might, it's so wonderful to watch the neutrino stream work and how this operates, because when you're connecting to reality and you're watching how the divine feminine is operating through you, you'll notice that so much information is given to you about what your life purpose is, and you've just got to be watching. And it can be something silly as like a billboard. It can be something silly as a channel news, right? Where 3 programs in a row are just talking about life direction. And it's like the codes for what you need to be learning are available in front of you if you're awake, which is a fascinating thing to do. So this is how I would like everybody to use these charts. Okay. Now, at the moment, we've also got something significant happening as well this month. And on the 7th of February, Mercury will go into your solar 8th house. And this is where you'll get the opportunity to really begin to now have these messages of what January and February was about. A lot of people will begin to speak to you about loss and betrayal. You might even find yourself speaking about that quite a lot. And it's just about being open and transparent emotionally, and learning how the deeper unconscious patterns in us influence the way that we feel and trust about life. So on the 10th, sorry, not the 10th, but on the 6th of February, we've got Jupiter going retrograde, as you can see there. And that's a big deal. As Jupiter goes retrograde, it brings to us the ability to relook at things. And as we re-looking at things, we're paying attention to how those things that we were looking at are supporting us or not supporting us. Now, because of course Jupiter is in the constellation Libra, that influences the way that you are operating in a relationship type way. So what Jupiter retrograde for you is doing, it lands in your solar 4th house. So this is about your emotional connection to home, your emotional connection to the expansion of what nourishes you. So this is a really, really wonderful opportunity to get stuck in with what type of ground do you want to plant your roots in, and how does that ground nourish you, okay? So with Jupiter moving in Libra, it's going to say to you, okay, so what type of people do you want to associate yourself with that really nourish you? What type of emotional connections do you want to develop and create bonds with that support your visions for deeper meaning in life, for security and stability, okay? So that's the questions I would be asking myself if I had that transit. So as we get into February the 10th, okay, we've got the solar, sorry, not the solar, but the lunar eclipse that is taking place for us. We have a full moon in Leo, and that's a lunar eclipse. And that's a big deal, to be honest. If anybody that hasn't watched the presentation that I did for the year of 2017. I highly recommend that you do. If you haven't been able to get hold of that, you can just email me. It's $10, and it gives you a really strong overlay of how this 2017 is working. And I say this because I speak a lot about this full and new moon that's taking place in February and how that's actually setting the stage for 2017. And this is very much, this full moon is really much about your ability to feel that you are welcomed, that you are accepted, and what type of tribe do you belong to that really supports your sense of creativity. And because it's a lunar eclipse, this is going to feel as if where it's absent. Okay, so this is going to set the stage for the oncoming transits for 2017. Now, Jupiter also makes an inconjunct to Chiron on the 14th of February, and you can see the moon makes a connection there, highlighting the story. And what's fascinating about this connection is it has to do for you around, like, what is your core philosophy? What truth do you subscribe to? And then how does that truth support the way that you define the emotional bonds that you create with people? Okay, so it's really much about that in a very interesting way. So that's what you should be looking out for on the 14th of February. Watch somebody come into your life, or you have something happen to you that you didn't expect, that promotes that deeper question. How am I looking at this experience, and how is this relationship maybe bringing me this emotional security? Am I wanting to bond here? These are great examples of how I would think if this was happening to me. Okay. And then, of course, as this transit goes along, we've got the Sun enter Pisces on the 18th of February, and that brings us to an entirely new solar cycle for you. Now, this solar cycle lands in your fourth house of your ninth house. So this is a lot to do with your relationship to this truth, to this perspective, to this idea of what you subscribe to. What is your cosmology? So your cosmology influences the way that you emotionally connect to reality. So does this cosmology support the positive relationships? Does it support the home environment that nourishes you? And that will be your kind of theme for the rest of February, and then most of March up until at least the 18th. So these are great opportunities to spend time watching around, watching people come in and talk about their emotional issues and their relationship dynamics. And you're going to come in here and you're going to say, so if you believe this, do you think that influences that emotional or reality? And a lot of people will be coming in and just kind of like revealing to you these deeper explorations. So pay attention to that, okay? And then finally on the 25th and 26th of February, we've got Mercury entering Pisces. And then we also have the solar cycle. This is the new moon that happens on the 26th there in Pisces. And of course, this will highlight to you what I just spoke about right now, which was the sun entering your ninth house, okay? And the solar cycle, this solar eclipse that's happening, this new moon, is really going to be pushing the button on, okay, so most of January, most of December has been about this, and here's illumination. Here's what's inspiring you. Here is what is the truth. Here is the thing that makes you feel like you've got something to pursue, okay? So watch out for this new moon solar eclipse. Is going to give you an incredible, powerful energy around acceptance and forgiveness, and the ability to really get connected to what inspires you. And it's going to also ask you to look at your truth and say, I don't feel like this is it anymore. It must be that. And that's going to change everything. I think because, of course, at the same time, Mars is hitting Uranus there as well. So that's something really, really interesting to pay attention to, okay? All right, my Cancer friends, thanks very much for listening to me for this month. I really hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget that forecast presentation. Just email me and we'll set up an exchange.